Hi, Mark. I'll assume it's Sarah.
Yep, I don't know why I'm using his laptop. I just noticed that too. How are you?
I'm great. I hear baby.
Yeah, sorry, Mark has COVID, so I don't know.
How
I don't
old's the
know.
baby?
Debating to like test them and all that. They're like kind of sick. Three. This one's three, and don't judge my messy house. This one's one. So 3 and 1.
Awesome.
Hi, buddy. I'll go on mute. Sorry about that.
Okay, you're good. You're good. What's up, Sam?
Hey Josh, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Good. We'll give folks just one more minute to jump on. Can you guys see my screen okay? Perfect. If you don't already have a scratch piece of paper near you, I want to encourage you to get either a notebook or a couple of scratch pieces of paper. We're going to be working on you today. We may have a little leaner coaching here. There was a continuing education being offered in the office today here at Excel. So we might have a little smaller crowd, but just one note on that. So after you get your license, you need 20 hours of post-licensure continued education within your first year or whatever. And then after that, it's 30 hours of continuing education every 3 years. So we like to try to give you as much CE, is what we call it, for free, so that you don't have to pay anything out of pocket as possible, so that you're learning from people that know what they're talking about. So today's CE in the office was actually held by an inspector. The first hour is about electrical and like what to look for on inspection reports and stuff. And then the other half was on heating and cooling, I think it was. So it was kind of good information to hear about from an inspector's perspective, so that we are better versed at helping our clients. All right. Well, as we noted last week, and Sarah, I know this is your first week, so everyone meet Sarah. Sarah is the freshest licensee in our office, so yay, Sarah. And then if you didn't already meet the rest of these yahoos getting their license and learn more before he starts. So more power to you. Today's focus is going to be completely on you. And it's going to be a lot of rhetorical questions. I'm not going to ask you for a whole lot of feedback until the exercise is completed. But if you don't have a piece of scratch paper, please get one and draw a circle with 8 chunks out of it, 8 pie pieces. And go ahead and label your circle and the pie pieces as you see it on the screen. So if you want to follow along, one's going to be fun and recreation. The next is going to be business, money, health, friends and family, romantic life, ooh la la, personal growth, and spiritual life. Now, what the verbiage below this says is basically like this is a pretty apt summation of our life as a whole, right? So we have different compartments of our lives. And what we're going to do during this is we're going to actually rank ourselves on each pie piece, where you feel you currently are, and if you're satisfied with your blank life. So we're going to start where I think we should start, and that's spiritual life. The question is, and you're going to plot yourself out on this. If it's a 10, if you feel like your spiritual life right now is just on point, you're going to church regularly, you're jumping into the Bible, you're immersed with groups, you feel really connected with your faith. If that's a 10, then go ahead and mark yourself a 10, and a 10 will be on the outside of the circle. A 1 or a 0, or if you have no connectivity with your faith, will be right near the middle. So plot yourself out, just put a dot there, maybe with a score. And you don't have to share this information. I want this all, again, to be rhetorical, and we'll just discuss when this is all done, but you'll get the point of this exercise in a moment. So your spiritual life, the reason we started with spiritual life is, if you recall, when we had conversations about joining Keller Williams operates under the following principles. Number 1 should be our faith. Number 2 should be our family. And then number 3 should be business. So if we've got a spiritual lives in order, then the other 2 might fall into place a little bit easier. Next thing we'll work on is, let's just go around to the right here. Fun and recreation. You know, Sarah mentioned that she's got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So maybe her personal fun right now is down closer to the center. I know my personal fun with 3 children is definitely not a 10. But we can all quantify what's fun to us differently. And so again, if you're a 10 and you're just having so much fun, if you're like Lauren, who travels every weekend and goes and hangs out with her friends all the weekend because she's not married with kids, then maybe you're closer to the 10 there, but maybe I shouldn't speak for Lauren, right? The next piece is business. If you are hitting all your business goals and you're just super happy with where your business life is right now, then great, rate it a 10. Or if you're not sure what it even looks like to be a realtor yet, and your other business ventures aren't going well, then maybe you're closer to the middle. A 5, like if you're a-okay right now, but could go better, could go worse, then plot yourself right here in that middle. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Next one is financially, money. What's your savings account look like right now? What did taxes do to you? Did that hurt? It always hurts, doesn't it? Or unless you're getting a refund. Congratulations if you got a refund. Or if you're flat broke, you know, what does that look like? Answer these things honestly. If you feel like money's not important, great, but also money is important for what can be done with it, right? Are you able to give money away? If your mom called and needed to be put in the hospital right now, would you be able to help her out? So money is somewhat important. Next, let's move down to health. Are you working out consistently? Are you eating well? Are you getting good sleep? Do you feel your energy levels are where they need to be? Have you gone to the doctor in the last 10 years? Or are you like me and just skip that thing? If you're doing those things, great, you're a 10. If you're not and you are like me, maybe you're closer down here. Friends and family. Are you getting enough time with your friends and family, number 1? And number 2, is that time being well spent? Are you focused on your friends and family? Is your head down in your cell phone? Are you present? Are you having regular family time, family meals? Are you taking good vacations with friends? Are you having play dates, so to speak, with your people that give you energy? Again, if you're just not seeing friends ever, then you're going to be close to the center of the wheel. If you're doing it all the time, great, you'll be on the outside of the wheel. Nicole, I don't know if you just jumped on or not, but and Selena, I'm sorry, and Jessica, I'm sorry, I've missed you guys joined. What we're doing here, if you're just joining us, is we're rating ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 on this wheel. If you don't have a scratch piece of paper, please get one. I'll allow you to catch up a little bit. But what we're doing is we're rating ourselves on each aspect, each of these 8 aspects of our lives. And I'll tell you the why behind what we're doing here in a moment. But right now we're just following along. So we started with our spiritual life. If any of these categories are a 10 out of 10, you feel that you're just killing this category, then go ahead and plot it out as a 10. Put a dot on the outside of the wheel and give yourself a 10. If you have no faith right now, you just at the end of your rope, then maybe you're a 0 or 1 and you're down here close to the middle. There's no right, there's no wrong answers. This is a practice that we'll explain here in a moment. Work yourselves around here. We are now at romantic life. This is simple. I mean, if you're married, are you still dating your spouse? Are you creating time in your busy schedule for one another? And is that time loving time? I mean, are you loving one another, or are you and your spouse having trouble right now? Again, no right, no wrong, and I'm not going to ask you to share. So this is in total confidence that you're filling these things out. If you're single, cool. What's your dating life look like? Maybe it's not where you want it to be, or maybe you're just lighting the town on fire. Last one, personal growth. This is what you're doing right now. So give yourselves a point for that. I should see no zeros right now. Think of the other 25 new agents that aren't here right now, and they need to be working on their personal growth. Personal growth is simply, are you putting yourselves in situations to grow? That could mean a number of things. It could mean joining a young professionals group where you push yourselves to meet new people. It could be attending CE. It could be joining our coaching calls. It could be all of these things. There's no right, no wrong answers. Has everyone, okay, just please speak up. Has everyone had a chance now to catch up and plot their coordinates around this circle?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, has anyone not? Okay, well, we're going to move on because we're doing 3 different exercises today. This first exercise is called the Wheel of Life exercise. As you see, your wheel may look a little bit wonky. Notice this person here. This is an example. For fun and recreation, they're doing great. So they rated themselves a 9. Business-wise, however, they rated themselves a 3. Is this an even circle where there is balance appropriately around the circle? No, not at all. And again, knowing that there's no right or wrong answers on these things, I'm going to safely assume that a lot of our wheels are looking like this right now. Without getting into specifics, would anyone like to share? Does your wheel look a little funky? Lauren says yes in the chat. Thank you, Lauren. I think if I'm to speak for us all here, the purpose of this exercise is to see where we have imbalance in our lives. In a perfect world, we would all have 10s all around this circle, and we would just be the happiest, best versions of ourselves. And we would be, most importantly, balanced, right? So our spiritual life would be in balance with our finances, which would be in balance with our health. We'd feel like we're doing really well. The idea behind this practice is to put a spotlight on things that you're doing really well so that you can maintain those things. And the things that you're doing very poorly, you can work on. So if I know that, let's take this one for example, fun and recreation and friends and family, odds are they're doing a lot of fun things with the people that they love. Call me crazy, but I think that's a huge win. So those 2 things probably don't need a whole lot more attention, because most of us are of the opinion that we'll never rate ourselves a 10 at anything we do. So 9's probably going to be as high as this person gets. Cool. But their romantic life is not where it needs to be. And this person said that their personal growth and health, I don't know why this coordinate is a little funky, but their health was at a 1. So if I know these things, in theory, should I not be able to impact them to create more symmetry and more of a functioning wheel? Does this make sense? Am I speaking clearly? Does this example resonate with anyone? Can somebody give me an aha, or two people give me an aha?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does, Josh. I was trying to figure out how to get my thing off mute.
Cool. Give me something you've learned through this little quick 5-10 minute exercise. Somebody.
Just got to make sure that, all facets of your life are, on track. If you're behind on something, start working on it.
Yeah.
Something that I got from it was that the areas that I'm lacking, also a lot of them kind of go like hand in hand. So for example, like if my business is lacking, then that also affects my money, or like my health and my personal growth kind of go hand in hand because, I'd like to be healthier, work out more, and that also, takes part in my personal growth. So I think a lot of them kind of affect each other as well.
Yeah, that's great revelation there. Jessica says balance in your life. So this is a rhetorical thing that you could take this practice and go to your spouse or go to your friends and ask them to do it too, and see if you're not just some anomaly here. But at the end of the day, what this will help you do is maybe create some accountability in your own life. So for personal growth, business, and money, I can be that accountability partner that you want and need in your life. So lean on me to do those things. Okay. I can help you get to where you want to be. That's my job as your coach, right? But from a spiritual life perspective, maybe you could reach out to us up here at church, or a pastor, or somebody that you respect, right? Don't make it weird. Just people will think the world of you if you go to them and ask them, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's just one step ahead of me that can help me stretch myself and give me better balance in this one aspect of my life. For health, maybe it's a fitness coach. For friends and family, maybe it's a parent or a grandparent that has their stuff in gear, or a friend, right? So hopefully this practice has been helpful. At the end of the day, no person in this world is going to have perfect tens all around their circle. That would probably be like Jesus Christ. And I don't know that, that we have anybody like that, right? So this is called the Wheel of Life exercise, and hopefully it's been advantageous for you to take. The next piece that we're going to focus on, and you'll just shift down your scratch piece of paper, or you'll go to the next other side. We're going to do what's called an allocation form. We're going to talk about your finances. So this will go hand in hand with money, and most likely, to Lauren's point, business. I want you to, again, I'm not going to ask you to share any of these results. Draw out lines, and next to those lines, put the dollar amounts that you need on a yearly basis. If you want to start off by a monthly basis and then just multiply it by 12, whatever's easiest for you. I am going to, let's see here. See if I can highlight. No, can't highlight. What we're going to do here is the personal expenses yearly amount. And just, if you don't know a number, ballpark it. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do the personal, and then jump down to the business and fill out these dollar amounts. If you don't know, again, ballpark it. So house payment, if you don't have a house, if you don't own a house, then what does your rent look like? Most of us know that. Within that, make sure you're accounting for things like utilities. Food, what's your grocery bill look like on average? Recreation and entertainment is just that, going to the ball game or going to the movies or hanging out with friends, doing something fun. What does that look like? Other regular payments, those could be subscriptions to things. Maybe you get the Stitch Fix boxes each month because you want to stay stylish, or maybe you have magazine subscriptions or online subscriptions, etc. Maybe you have childcare expenses for daycare. Maybe you like to go get your eyelashes done every month. Miscellaneous, this would be like an upcoming trip that you might have, or an educational class that you're going to, tithing, etc. For this practice, we don't need to worry about taxes necessarily, unless you know that number. From there, and I know that most of you are brand new to real estate, or you've just been doing this a little bit, but you can if you're working another job, maybe you can incorporate that as well. If you're not going to jump full time into real estate, then let's incorporate all your personal business expenses that you have through your other companies. So maybe it's clothes like wardrobe. For us, we have office dues. So I think it's $89 a month. That would be a monthly fee that we would multiply by 12. Maybe you have a business car that you need to fill gas up with. I don't know. General business expenses, things like if I needed business cards, or if I was going to invest in some crazy marketing campaign. So take a moment, and if you have not already, let's make sure that we have our yearly quantities in here. So if you just did your monthly house payment, please multiply it by 12 and write down that number. And let's add all these things up. So let's get a personal column total and a business column total. I'll give you a minute or two to do all those calculations. If you need to do it on your phone, please feel free to. Does anybody need more time to do these calculations? If you need more time, please speak up. Otherwise, we're gonna move on. Okay, so you have a grand total. You have a grand total for your personal expenses and for your business expenses. Please add those two things together to get a grand total. We are going to next, we're going to do a little bit of math. So we're going to say, does anybody, Lauren, you've closed multiple deals. Vic, you've closed multiple deals. Do you and Nicole, you've closed, Selena, you've closed. We're just going to use a round number here for our example. If you have specific data specific to you, then you can revisit this number using your specific data. We're going to use a $200,000 home. $200,000, and we're going to use the commission. We're going to make it sound like this is your average commission. We're going to say that the average commission is 3%. So to do the math, if you all know realtor math, all you need to do is calculate your commission, how much money you got coming your way. $200,000 times 0.03. That's the equivalent of $200,000 times 3%. That equals $6,000. So for this practice, we're going to say that the average gross commission is $6,000. A lot of our splits are different. So let's just go off of gross commission income. Take your grand total number that you just formulated from all the house payments and all the expenses that you had, and divide it by 6,000. So let's just say, for an example, let's say all my personal expenses were $50,000. So my house payment, food, etc. Let's just round numbers here. For example, $50,000 was my personal. Let's say 10,000 is my business expenses. So my grand total is $60,000 total of how much money I will be spending just to live this year. And let's say my average transaction is $6,000. If I do my math, this bottom line here, number of closings needed for survival. This is just number of closings I need to make ends meet and have it be a wash at the end of the year. Let's say, using my example, $60,000 divided by 6,000 means I have to sell how many homes? $60,000 to live divided by $6,000 gross commission income. How many homes do I have to sell? Whatever you're thinking, you're probably right. This is easy math, guys. Somebody help me out.
10 homes.
Thank you. 10 homes is how many homes I have to sell just to make ends meet. It doesn't sound too unreasonable for most people. I think if we do the work, then I can easily sell 10 homes. The average realtor across America sells, I think it's 7 to 8 homes a year. So are you average? No, of course not. I hope that part was eye-opening, because number one, it's really important to know what your goals are in terms of just putting bread and food on the table, right? And just paying the mortgage payment or paying your rent. The next line, though, is if you wanted to actually like live a big life, right? So let's say my goals for this year were to also go on an incredible end of the year vacation that was once in a lifetime thing. Well, I would need extra money. My 10 closings won't cut the mustard, right? Or let's say this year I needed to buy a new car, or this year I wanted to buy a new house, or I wanted to save $10,000 for my savings account. Well, then I'm going to have to add in additional closings. So this form here is called an allocation form. It's very simple. We just did it in the span of about 10 minutes. And it's something that will allow you to put a spotlight on your productivity and what you need to do to meet your goals. Any questions on the allocation form? The last thing that we're going to do together, and this all goes hand in hand, guys. We did the the balanced life thing, because we ultimately, that's our objective, right? We want a balanced life. We want all facets of our life to be evenly distributed. Well, in order to do that, the thing that we're talking about most is the money aspect of things. So we can impact the money if we just put a spotlight on what that looks like, hence the allocation form. Well, we're going to go one step further and say, okay, if I know that I need at least, in our example above, I need at least 10 closings this year, then what does that look like in terms of how many like listings and how many contracts I need to be writing? So taken from the previous page, what is the goal number of transactions you must take in order to make your goal? I'm going to let, again, we're letting you do this all on your own. There's no right or wrong number here. But for our example above, I would say my goal would probably be 15 closings, because I don't want to just make ends meet and not have extra money to do more things. I want to become wealthier and maybe invest in properties or do more with my money. So I'm going to say maybe 15 for this. Next, we're going to calculate, figure 10% fallout if you do not know your actual number, 10% of the above goal. So 10% of 15 would be 1.5. But you do 10% of your goal. So that's whatever your number is on number A there, letter A, times 0.1. So next we're going to add A and B together. So in my example, if I was 15 for A, 1.5 for B, that would be 16.5. For D here, what percentage of your closings will be listings? For those of you who are brand new, a listing is a home that you are selling. You're representing the seller. How many do you anticipate of your closings would be you representing the seller? I would say a good rule of thumb, your first year, you're going to be working with more buyers than sellers typically. So maybe you say 33%. 33% would be you representing the seller. Or if you already have a good pipeline of future sellers, great, maybe it's 50%. I wouldn't likely go over 50% for that number D though, letter D. Next, we're going to multiply the number up here by the percentage. So C, so in my example, it'd be 16.5 times the percentage of closing. So let's say 0.33 would be 33%. You get a number there. What percentage of your listings sell? Every once in a while, guys, a home actually doesn't sell. Shocking, I know. In Central Ohio right now, 100% are selling, but in actuality, you'll get fired every once in a while. Meaning a home will sit on the MLS for a couple of weeks and the seller might think you're not doing enough and they'll say, hey, we need to go a different direction. Or they'll decide that they don't want to sell. So really, realistically, your number here should probably be about 80%. What percentage of your listings sell? 80%. So then we're going to go, let's see here. E divided by F. So divided by 0.8 equals a new number. I hope someone's actually, I hope y'all are actually doing this because at the end, I want to hear at least a couple people's numbers. What is the average days on market? Here in Central Ohio, the average days on market is literally 4, 5. Let's go on the high end there, say 5. Take the average days on market and divide into 365. This is your average turnover rate. So 5 divided by 365 would equal, and I'm going to assume E-Town and Owensboro are probably similar numbers. It's like 0.013.
Quick question. I ran to the restroom. What percentage of your listings sell? What did you say to put for that?
80%.
Okay, thank you.
It's just a typical rule of thumb because you will have listings that fall out. Or people that have second thoughts. All right, so your turnover rate, or take average turnover rate G divided by I. Total listings you must carry at all times to make goals. So let's follow along this goal, this example right here. So let's say you wanted to close 50 transactions. Then 10% of 50 is 5. So your total that you would need would be 55. You need 55 closings like in contract because 5 will fall out. What percentage of closings will be listed? They said 40%. So that number would look like 22. 22 would come from listings. Percentage of listings that sell for this person, they have terrible stats. That would be 50%. So 50% of 22, it means that they need 44 listings. The average days on market is 100. This must have been written forever ago. So the average turnover rate for these guys is 3.65. So 44 divided by 3.65 equals 12 listings. So this person, in order to close 50 deals, needs to carry 12 listings at all time. That is going to be hard to deal with. Right now, guys, this was written in 2017, way different market in 2007. That's 5 years ago. Okay. So hence the different numbers. Right now, our numbers are looking more like if you wanted to sell 50 transactions and you were going to have 22 of those come from listings, you'd probably only need like 25 of those. So you'd need on average about 1 listing active at all times. That's a lot more feasible, right? This sheet here is aimed at getting us to focus on trying to get our good name out there and accrue more listings. So if we were to work backwards, and that's what this form right here is for us, working backwards. If I always have 1 active listing, then I know that I'm going to meet my financial goals, which will allow me to hit my allocations form, meaning I'm going to be able to spend the money where it needs to be spent. And then odds are, going all the way back up here, this money and business piece to my pie are going to be closer to 10 than 0. Does that make sense? So all 3 of these practices that we just did together really do jive with one another. And if you want any of this information, I'll be happy to send it over to y'all. I think it is important for you to understand like who you are personally, where you're personally at in all different aspects of your life, because although I'm coaching you for money, personal growth and business, I still want you to be really healthy. I still want you to have great family memories being made. I want your faith life to be amazing. So I want to encourage you to go get coaches in those aspects of your lives. Now, those aren't coaches you need to pay for. Just case in point from my life, like for my spiritual strength, I lean on a couple other dudes my age, and we meet up and we talk about our faith life. That's free and it's fun, and it's over coffee, so it gets me out and allows me to have some recreation too. Do whatever's going to work for you. The last thing, this is more or less homework. I want you to sit on this information right here on the screen here. This is a growth plan. If you were to maybe score yourself pretty low on your personal growth chunk of the pie, then I want to really encourage you to do this. Break down your year. So right now we're in April. On this sheet here, they've given us a few things that Keller Williams conducts every single year that can help you with your personal growth. Victor got a chance to attend family reunion with me. Victor, was that good for your personal growth?
Yes, sir.
So he got a nice uptick in his personal growth. That's something that I want to encourage everyone to do in next February. But I want you to just take a moment and think through your year. How can you break down your year so that you have a nice, steady, organized flow of personal growth opportunities? What are some examples of personal growth opportunities? Well, let's say we're in April right now. Maybe your personal growth opportunity is to attend coaching every single week. Maybe it's to read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the book. Maybe it's to start attending a YPN event or a area Chamber of Commerce meeting. Start thinking of positions you can put yourself in to stretch yourself and to make yourself a better version of you. Because the reason we do it this way is odds are if you write it down, you will commit to doing these things. It's not just some pie in the sky idea that's floating around your brain. You've actually organized it. If you really want to go to the next level, write it out on a calendar. Put yourself a due date of these things. I'm not asking you to have 10 things for each month. I would say start with 2. What are 2 scenarios that you can put yourself in where you will be able to grow? I love how in October they've got make a growth plan for next year. They've also got start writing your business plan for next year. And you're in luck because through your coaching program, I'm going to be doing this alongside of you. Also, one thing that they put in here was recharge. That means they're going to take a vacation. Go ahead, put your vacations on here as well. Those are things that we have to look forward to that will also help us grow. We almost grow through a vacation by subtracting all the work, right? We grow mentally by being able to handle everything once we get back to work. And then what they've got here in November is give the growth plan and business plan to your coach. I would love to review your plans and just be a sounding board for you. If you have questions after this call for anything that we just covered here in the last 40 minutes, like I'm here for y'all. You know, I don't get as many phone calls or texts as I wish I would get. To be quite honest with y'all, I want you to blow me up when you need answers. I want you to reach out to me, and I promise you I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Nicole, for instance, she's on with us here. She had a question like 3 weeks ago about how to do something, and she wanted a video that might lead her through it. So I quickly filmed a video, and hope you got that, Nicole, and hope that helped a little bit.
Yes, thank you. It helped me a lot. I appreciate it.
Good deal. Good deal. And also, guys, I do have that YouTube channel. It's called Trailblazing Real Estate. It's on YouTube. Just search Trailblazing Real Estate. And it has all kinds of videos that I've created over the last 2 years based off the questions and feedback that I get from you new agents. Because if one person asks it, odds are other people are going to have the same question. And I want to try and nip it in the bud and give you resources and tools to help answer your questions, and you don't have to feel like you're blowing me up. So that concludes our UUU coaching session. Hopefully you take at least one or two pieces or nuggets of information away from this that you think will be helpful. And maybe if nothing else, it just allowed you to look in the mirror and say, you know, I'm doing really good at these things and I'm doing really crappy at these other things. I'd like to focus on improving those things. And maybe you've got a person who jumps into your mind that could help you with those things. Reach out to those people. They will be super encouraged that you are. I'm going to shut up now. What questions, comments, anecdotes do y'all have based on what we just covered? And then I'll open it up to anything you're facing right now in your business. If no questions, then can somebody give me just one thing that they might take away from these three things that we just did and go do? Just want to hear from one person.
Building a growth plan.
Good. You're going to build your growth plan. Who are you going to share that with once you're done, Vic?
My girlfriend.
I like that. Wonderful. Okay, you talkative people, you. I'm going to open it up now for just business perspective. Do we have any business needs, any questions, comments, concerns from a business perspective?
I'll give you one. So I have a listing that is not selling in 5 days, did not sell in 5 days. Okay. And part of the problem was there is a smoke smell. I got my sellers to completely repaint the inside of the house, which was, you know, a huge win. But we had another showing and they're still saying that, you know, there's a smoke smell. So when I approached it with my seller, he was very adamant that it only smells like paint in there now. So how do you handle that?
Have you been in it since they painted?
I have not, but I also have I have sinus issues. So I have a very poor sense of smell. So it wouldn't do me any good.
I would, so I'm putting myself in your situation. I would probably ask the owner or the seller to invite a friend or a family member over and have them give them their honest feedback. Because although they might not listen to you, they would probably listen to a friend or family member if they gave them truly honest feedback. Otherwise, if you had normal person smelling, I would walk in and just say, either, you know what, you're right, I don't really smell anything, or I hate to say it, John, but I still smell smoke. Regardless of what you do, if it's still not selling, people are willing to look past certain things. Smoke smell is one of those things that most people realize that opening windows, getting maybe one of those O2 machines or whatever, painting, replacing flooring, it shouldn't deter a sale too very much. So it may be a pricing thing. Are you getting any feedback on price?
They haven't said anything about price. And that could definitely be part of the problem because I wanted to list it in that 210 to 220 range, and they wanted to go 250. They were adamant, you know, and they've said that they will lower it eventually, but we just haven't gotten to the point where they.
How's traffic been?
Very poor. Very poor.
There you go. That's the only diagnosis you need is when traffic is poor. Nobody can see smoke smell on pictures. So it's not the smoke that's the problem, it's the price. I would share that information with them saying, hey, the average home right now, and pull the statistics for your current area. Say the average listing is selling in whatever it is, 7 days maybe. If yours has been on the market longer, then it's time for a price improvement, especially if you haven't received any offers yet.
Okay.
Normally in that situation, you just rely on the stats to tell the story instead of your own, like, well, here's my opinion. No, you say, here's what the stats say, and the stats don't lie.
Right. That
And
makes
that's
sense.
it's a tough conversation to have. But if at the end of the day you have that conversation and they decide to cut ties with you, screw it. They weren't going to sell anyway. You know.
Yeah.
Good luck. Let me know if you need any more information there, or if you don't. I'm assuming do you know how to pull that information about how many days on market?
I think I do through the MLS. I have to look.
Yeah, and they should send reports out pretty much every month about average days on market too. Well, good luck. Any other
Okay.
scenarios, situations out there?
I had a question that we kind of talked about earlier in our team meeting, but I don't know if it'd be helpful to anybody else. I have somebody that wants to list their home and they just don't know if they should just list it or if it's worth it to put the money in to do the work. And on top of that, they also want to know like what kind of work would be worth changing in their house.
Yeah, so the conversation we just had, this is a great question. You'll get this a lot. The next point of action that we need to take is to get into the house. So we want to, and this is where we provide the value, because a good realtor will understand what gets return on investment in terms of home improvements. So if you were to walk into the home and the kitchen was bright yellow and had, you know, crappy countertops that were falling apart, of course you would say, you know, I will recommend that you replace your kitchen cabinets or paint them. You're going to get better return on your investment if you simply paint them if they're functional. And I have a guy that does countertops. I'm going to recommend him to you. You can get a free price quote and see if it's worthwhile for you. But countertops go a long way. The reason I use the kitchen analogy is because kitchens and bathrooms typically get dollar for dollar return on investment. Okay. Things like finishing a basement, if they were thinking, like if the first story is great, but they want to finish the basement first, say, hey, I hate to say it, but you're going to get maybe 30 cents on the dollar return on that investment. So then you start to calculate, well, is it worth it? But the moral of the story is you need to get into the house and you need to give it a realtor's lens or a buyer's lens. And then from there, you can start running numbers and say, well, hey, this bathroom is a small bathroom. I think you could probably do it all for about $2,000. And I really feel like you'd get those dollars back. Or if the home has, you know, the carpet, it might be worn a little bit. You're not going to get dollar for dollar from carpet, but flooring is a big thing. So you just have to weigh pros and cons. If the whole house needs love, then let's just sell it as is and get out from under it, because it's probably gonna be way worse or worth way less time to get it up to where it needs to be. And anymore here in Central Ohio, at least, I'm sure down in Kentucky too, there are a lot of investors who will pay way more than the home's worth and just get you gone with that headache. But moral of the story at the end of the day is get in the house. And the script that you use is something like this. Well, Jim, I really appreciate that you want to do some fixes to the home, and I totally get it. What if you had me walk through real quick and give it a quick once over and give you an idea of what that return on investment might look like? Because at the end of the day, Jim, we don't want you putting $10,000 into this big project if you're only going to get $2,000 back in return. And most of the time they'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Come, let's walk through. Let's have a walkthrough. And then boom, you're in. You've got the listing most likely because you're going to provide them value. You're getting deeper into your relationship with them, and you're doing a good thing.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that one up. What else? If nobody has anything, then I know a couple of you I'm going to be meeting up with here in the next day or two. Otherwise, if you have any issues, holler at me. Y'all have my contact information. Please blow me up. I want to help. I want to see you guys get into production. I want to see you closing deals so you can work on that financial piece of the old pie. Thanks so much for your time, guys. Hopefully this was good. Go do something with it. Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Thanks, Josh.